Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking time walking. Specifically, kind of looking forward to time walking into Battle for Azeroth. Some things I think they could kind of do to change it. It's kind of getting a little bit stale. I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that. This week we had the Burning Crusade time walking, and got me thinking as I'm doing some of these old dungeons, and it's like, man, this was really cool when it first came out, but it's kind of boring now. So I was trying to think of ways that they could incorporate time walking into like Battle for Azeroth and going forward that might make it a little bit more interesting. And the main thing I've come up with that I think would be nice, it wouldn't necessarily be time walking, but it would basically be every expansion, maybe you redo a dungeon just to make it max level. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of it at low level, similar to when they redid things during Cataclysm with Dead Mines and everything. Um, just one dungeon, maybe per X pack or per time walking that you have, anyways, and you make that dungeon basically scale for the new level. So if it's 120 or 115 for Battle for Azeroth, you would scale it to that level. You could also make this a Mythic Plus dungeon as well. So it'd be a way to kind of keep the old stuff, reworking an old dungeon to kind of keep it relevant. Now you could do this in two different ways, in my opinion. You could either take a dungeon that doesn't have a lot of lore at all or isn't very liked and remake it into into the new style, or you could take a dungeon that kind of fits in with the lore of the current expansion and make that one into the new dungeon. Now, I'm not saying this is the best case scenario in any way, but I think this would make it a lot better as far as the idea was to keep the old dungeons that people liked relevant and still in the game because they're just sitting there not being run as much unless you're leveling. So this would be a cool way to keep some of our favorite dungeons going longer and longer. Such as I mentioned the Cataclysm stuff already. I don't think they did a great job on a lot of them, but I actually really did like Dead Mines. Even though Dead Mines is one of my favorite original dungeons in vanilla, I really thought they did a pretty decent job on that one. And then the storyline of it as well, with Van Cleef's daughter taking over the Defias. I thought that was kind of a neat storyline. So I would like to see more of that, and you can kind of incorporate that in the time walking. The other aspect of time walking that I did want to talk about in this video is the old raids. Now, I haven't got a chance to finish one of these yet. This is something I really was pumped about when it came out, and yet I haven't been able to do it. As it's been said by many people already, but this needs to be able to be done in the Looking for Group tool. You cannot just have it as like a pug group that you pick up. There's a lot of really bad people in the groups. There's a lot of people that don't really know what they're doing, and that's fine. But if you do it through the Looking for Group tool, you can have that deterrence or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Buff you get when you wipe. I don't do Raid Finder enough because I don't have a good time in there to know what the buff is called. But you get a buff when you die, determination maybe, and you get stronger. So that would be an interesting way to do it. Now, of course, if you did that, then all you have to do is make that the time walking equal to whatever the loot of the current LFR wing is. So right now, I think you get like 915 or 900 in LFR, something around there. And so you can make so currently it's Black Temple, so you can make that loot be that level. I think it already is close to that. I think Black Temple is 900, and if I'm right, then the LFR might be 915. So you wouldn't even be changing it that much. And you could even, what I would also say is, what you could do with the time walking raids is you could maybe have the option to do it on normal mode, and the normal mode you wouldn't be able to use the LFR tool for. You would get a group, and that would give you the same loot as the normal current raid. Now, that isn't the best thing in the world, I realize, because it's not really sticking with the current thing. But if you're going to have it in general, you need to make it the reward a little bit better, because that's the biggest thing that's keeping me from like forming my own group, is that the loot I'm going to get isn't going to be competitive with what I'm already wearing. Now, it's not going to be competitive if it's only normal anyways, but at least maybe it still has a chance to forge up. I mean, you have to find some sort of reward through it, but I do love the concept of it a lot. I love the idea of keeping old raids relevant and old dungeons relevant. So, I mean, in summation, I love the idea of time walking, but to me it's gotten just extremely stale, and I don't really enjoy it anymore. It's really tedious if I even bother doing the quest in Dalaran to do the 5 time walkings. It's tedious. I think you're nerfed down a little bit too much. I understand not wanting just to one-shot everything, but maybe the gear could scale a little bit more reasonably. So if you're in super high end gear, then you should be in super high end gear for the level you're scaled down to the point where you can kind of carry a group. That's not to say you can't carry a group, but it's not as potent as you might think. I know I did I tanked one today, and I can solo mythic dungeons in this expansion and everything, no problem. I don't know what high plus I could solo, probably not super high, but yeah, I'm taking a ton of damage. I didn't have a very good healer in my group, and I'm taking a ton of damage um, in the opening of Dark Portal, the Caverns of Time one. I was taking a ton of damage in there. I'm like, oh, this isn't right. I don't take a ton of damage in actual content. I shouldn't be taking any damage in here, or the same amount that I take in normal content. So I would love to see them scale more properly the gear. That might be asking a lot, and I'd like to see, like I said, maybe some better rewards and maybe reworking of a dungeon to make it an old dungeon to make it like literally a dungeon that you run currently with a Mythic Plus option to it as well. Now, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think so. I think like AQ is going to get remade for this coming expansion, and maybe some other things will get remade as well. But I just think that's an interesting option to keep things going. You could also do more than one dungeon like they did in Kata. I thought what they did in Kata was a good idea. They didn't do it very perfectly at all, but I think with a little bit more care and insight that they could do kind of the same system there. But yeah, like I said, I was doing the time walking stuff today. I had a lot of thoughts about it, so I decided to make a video about it. Hopefully, if you agree with me, let me know. If you have other feelings on time walking, maybe you hate it, maybe you don't want them remaking any of your old dungeons, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, everybody have a good one.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Thumbs up and sub as always. Also comment below, share the videos. Appreciate it so much. You can also check me out at Twitter at WoW Gaming Inc. and at Twitch with the tag name Kneecap Killer. So everyone have a good one and see you again soon.